Coffee with Keto Simple. My name is Dustin. I'm so glad you're here. This stream will be starting soon, so grab your coffee, get comfortable, and settle in. We're building a strong and supportive community, so say hello in the chat, ask questions, and feel free to use super chats if there's anything that you want to see highlighted. Thank you for being here and being a part of this journey. Let's keep it positive and respectful as we connect and grow together. I can't wait to get started. Good morning and happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Whew. Good morning. Whew. Oh my goodness. I have not slept. That was not the plan. The plan was to sleep. But the best laid plans of mice and me don't always go according to plan. So here we are. I went to my buddy's house last night to hang out. My birthday is the 25th, but being adults, we could get together last night. So I went over there and hung out for a while, and we watched a movie called Plane. If you have seen it, it's called Plane, just Plane. And some friends I haven't seen in a while were over, and we hung out until after 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I got home, and Chandra has to be up and ready for work at 6 a.m. So I didn't go to bed to wake her up. I just kind of hung out downstairs and got her stuff together. So when she came downstairs, everything was ready to go for her. And now here I am hanging out with y'all. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Tanya is first. She wins the award today. Congratulations. I don't know what you win. Just hello. That's what you win today. And Sherry is here. She says, good morning, beautiful people. Happy Father's Day. Looking forward to the discussion. I forget it's Father's Day because as a stepdad, it's kind of like, no one celebrates stepdads on Father's Day, but that's okay. We're okay with it. Jerry is in the house. She says, good Sunday morning to Dustin and the gang. The gang. Yes. And Tanya says, let me first to say happy Father's Day. Sherry beat me to it. Yes, indeed. And Jerry's right behind her with the happy Father's Day. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Well, I haven't had any coffee, and I'm kind of tired, so I'm gonna need some of this coffee. Let me adjust this lid a little bit. I frothed my coffee a little too much this morning, but I like a good froth because it kind of takes some of the bitterness out of the coffee, weirdly enough. Let's see. Jerry says that they were just watching Bart K and his reactionary videos. I don't know if I'm familiar with Bart K. Jerry says it's the drugs I'm on. You never know what to expect from me. Spasms or spunk. Well, you know how it goes. You know how it goes. Never know what to expect from Jerry. And she says, this week I'm waiting 2 hours after waking up to drink my first coffee. Yep, another N equals 1. That's pretty ambitious. That's an ambitious goal. I try to have some electrolytes before I have my coffee in the morning. Doesn't always quite work out that way, but mm, mm. At 7:31 a.m., the coffee will be in my hands. That's a good goal. And Brian is in the house. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, everyone. Fantastic. I'm glad to see you here, Brian. And Tanya's talking about. I'm guessing this is about the 2 hour window, or before having or after waking up before having coffee. And Jerry said the past week on Triple B&E, I did a fat fast for 7 days. Just call me a guinea pig. Oh my goodness. Christian Delorme is in the house. Bonjour, bonjour. Welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Super excited that you're here. John Gugahan is in the house. Good morning, Mr. Gugahan. I'm glad to see you. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Jerry giving everybody a heads up that I'd be coming on in about 2 minutes. Perfect timing. Let's see. Sean is in the house. Good morning, Mr. Bradley. Hope you and Show are doing fantastic today. Courtney. Good morning, Courtney. How are you doing, dear? Long time no see. And Brian says, "What if Dustin is late? Are you waiting on him or just 7:30?" That's funny. What the hell? Don't forget the thumbs up thingy. That's true. That's true. That's true. Happy Sunday, chat. Coffee. Mm. Ah, that's delightful. It truly is delightful. Look at me on time. I was not on time to my live yesterday. I was not on time to the live with Cindy on Friday. Though Cindy's live did go 3 hours. So yeah, that was a long one. We had special guests and surprise appearances. It was pretty cool. Jerry says, I've been up since 5:30. 7:30 is my coffee time today. John says, I am still alcohol free and enjoying life. Just changed a flat on my new bike and adjusting the brakes. We'll take a long ride later today. I'm going to take a long nap later today. Plane like is an aeroplane. Gerard Butler is in the movie along with the guy who played Luke Cage. He's also plays the priest in the TV show Evil, if you're not familiar with that show. I watched like the first season and a half of that show, and then something happened, and like I think it was going away, or I didn't have access to it anymore, or something. That I didn't get a chance to finish it. I almost feel like I need to restart that show. Have you guys seen any of those? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what's going on. Jeff is in the house. Good morning, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Let's see. Courtney says, me neither. I just got back from picking up my dog in Steamboat Springs. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Oh, and happy Father's Day. Well, thank you so very much, Courtney. I hope you're doing well. Colorado is a great place to live. And Jeff is making bacon. I love bacon. And Brian Doyle is in the house. Good morning, Brian. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Sleep is overrated until you are like loopy with tired and you lay down and like that warm envelop of like it just kind of overtakes you and you're just out. I think that's a good feeling. Well, Tanya, what am I gonna do? I can't leave you guys high and dry. I set this up for 7:30, and I'm gonna be here around 7:30. I've had people get upset about me being late before, and I'm like, I'm doing this for free. So, but I'm not gonna miss this because this is truly a highlight of my week, and I truly love it. So, you know. Cindy's in the house. Good morning, Cindy. She is so sweet. She texted me yesterday to check up on me because she's the best. I'll tell you what. I'm like, what the hell, Cindy? Mm. So Jerry is saying that I had 2 hours and 20 minutes of sleep last night. If all of a sudden I passed out. I'm still in bed, leg propped up. Well, don't don't let me keep you from passing out because that sounds fantastic. It sounds actually really nice. I can't lie about it. Sean said, Shell surprised me with my favorite coffee this morning for Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads that get it done. Happy Stepdad's Day. You're still an awesome dude. Well, I appreciate that so very much, Sean. I really do. And of course, I get a call from the stepdaughter last night. She sent her fiance over to grab pie dishes from our house. And I guess they are making what are they called? My brain is going to be a little off today. Um, like it's like a sugar cookie base with like a cream cheese icing type stuff on top. It's like cream cheese or whatever. And then like fruit on top. A tart. Maybe it's called a tart. I don't know. It's a something. They're delicious. I don't know why she does this to me. I don't know if she's bringing them over to our house or what, but she's like, I'm going to make them. And I'm like, just more temptation. Just temptation. Although, like, my house is a minefield of temptation. I didn't even know that 100 grand, the candy bar, was made into an ice cream bar. There's corn dogs in my freezer. You know how I feel about corn dogs, and there's corn dogs in my freezer and just ice cream sandwiches for as far as you can see. Oh my goodness. And it's like, I'm trying to be on track here. I'm trying to do good here. And these kids are out here trying to sabotage me. It's like a concerted effort. I'm a little loopy, you know. Cindy said, Happy Father's Day. Thank you so much, Cindy. I appreciate that very much. And Courtney's congratulating Johns. I passed 8 years, no alcohol or sick. That's fantastic, Courtney. Fantastic. Um, I have gone, it's been 15 years, no cigarettes for me, as of June the 5th. I think it was June the 5th in 2010 that I gave up smoking. And yeah, never look back. I still dream about smoking though. That's like the one thing that I still will do is I will still dream that I'm smoking cigarettes. And in my dream I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I haven't had a cigarette in 15 years or 10 years or however long it's been in the time I've had the dream. And so one thing I had a dream like the night before last coming into yesterday morning, and it's a weird dream, and it's almost like one I feel like I've had before. It's not a cigarette dream, but I dreamt, and this is weird. And I mean, you guys, you're here. You know me. You showed up for this. You know I'm a weird person, so I'm here. I had a dream that I had a hair, a big, thick, like whisker, like cat whisker, like hair, but it was growing out of my tongue. Okay. And I said, you guys showed up. This is your fault. So you have to listen to me. Okay. But I had this dream, and it's not so much that this the dream or like, but it's almost like, and maybe you guys have had something like this before where it's almost like there's memories associated with the dream to where maybe I've had the dream before, or maybe there's like a deja vu feeling with it or something, like, like I felt like I've had that issue before, and I was trying to pull the hair out of my tongue. It was not a hair stuck to my tongue, but a hair growing out of it. And it was the weirdest dream because I'm like, why is this here? And I'm trying to pull on it, and it wasn't painful or anything that, at least as I can remember in the dream, but like all day I just kept having like this idea that like I've had that before, like I've had that in real life. And I'm like, and I was talking with Chandra last night on her way. I was on my way to my friend's house, so she's on her way home. We actually passed each other on the interstate. um I didn't see her, she didn't see me, but I obviously we had passed each other because she was coming from relatively close to where I was going. So where she works is not far from where my friend lives. And yeah, so I was like, it's hair can't grow on your tongue, right? And she's like, no. And I was like, I figured not. But it's like I've had that dream before, or like, how there's like the whole idea of a multiverse. And I know that in movies the multiverse is played out, but I think if there is a multiverse type situation in reality, then I think there's probably things where happen where it kind of thins out, and there's like you can kind of maybe see pieces of it, or I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I just had that feeling that that's happened to me in real life, and it's just the most weird feeling sensation that I've had, and like, but it's like a memory. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Sandy Blythe is in the house. I swear I can talk. Sandy Blythe is in here from. Woo! I'll get it right eventually. Sandy Blythe. Good morning from Florida. Hi, Dustin. Well, hi, Sandy. I'm so glad to see you. I love Florida. We're going to be down near Florida in October. We're going to be near Pensacola in a little town called Gulf Shores. Maybe Orange Beach. I don't know. We had initially booked an Airbnb. Now, when you book an Airbnb, for those of you who are not familiar, Airbnb is not supposed your host is not supposed to get you to contact them outside of the app unless it's an emergency. So as soon as she booked the Airbnb, she started getting all these messages, email me, email me, email me outside of the app, and she's like, no, and got a refund. It's like, we're not going to deal with that those kind of shenanigans, because we go and we get a chance to be there for a little over a week, and we want to make sure we're getting a relaxing kind of vacation. So, yeah. And John says that he is 2 days into another fruit fast. I can't explain it, but my morning fasting blood glucose is under 100 when I sugar fast. It is between 105 and 125 when I eat a ketovore lifestyle. I don't know why. I imagine that once the shininess, like this being the hot topic that it is, I think it'll start to calm down. And with that, I think we will start to see maybe a more objective look at it. That's just, I mean, I know that Nick Norwitz has done a deep dive on it. And I think this right now, it's either you're like, you think it's a silly thing, or you think it's the best thing as far as the creators are concerned and the information that they're putting out there. And I imagine that there probably is something to that, John, but I just not quite sure I fully understand it yet. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. And I would be curious to know what you're eating in a ketovore lifestyle, a ketovore diet, that would cause your fasted blood glucose to be so high. Okay, so here's the deal. All right, so Sean said Evil moved from CBS to Paramount. You can tell because it is now rated R. Okay. I watched like the first season and a half, and it was on CBS or whatever. And it was on Netflix or something, or maybe the first season was on Netflix. and I wanted to watch the second season, and I didn't. And I think maybe I had access to like Paramount Plus or something, because I think every once in a while you'll get those where like get it for 3 months at 99 cents a month or something, and you'll kind of see what's going on with those. But yeah, yeah. Tanya says, being a daughter of and co parent with a stepfather, I can say that they have the hardest job sometimes. Celebrate them. We do typically, and when I can't say speak for everyone, and I've only been a step parent to this family, but I know that there was a hard initiation getting into this family, not just from the kids, but Chandra as well. I mean, she was coming off of a divorce. She got divorced, and it had been final for a while when we met, and she was going through putting herself through nursing school, and I was kind of in the middle of that, and there was like turmoil with her, the newly found, basically uh, not necessarily newly found, because I mean she was basically the primary parent in that relationship anyway. So it wasn't that part of it was so new, but being divorced is new, and then trying to bring me into the mix, and the kids weren't very thrilled about it. And I've said before that I would wake up and there would be letters, at least one time letters saying, "We don't want you here." And I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome." And I mean, they were teens, preteens. So, everything's kind of worked out. So this is what I feel too, Courtney. So Courtney's saying, so when I start to hallucinate, I know I need sleep. Yeah. 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 I feel that too. Sometimes I'm wide awake and I'm like, yeah, it's time for a nap. You know how it goes. I mean, we may only do an hour today, but we'll find out. We'll find out how this is going to go, because I've almost already knocked out a good amount of this coffee. Mm. Cindy said, "That's right. What the hell? What the hell?" Jerry said, "Yesterday was intense." Yeah, it was. It's definitely an interesting thing. It's definitely an interesting topic to discuss, because I think it is under. It's kind of a topic that doesn't get addressed very well, to the point to where I don't even know how to talk about it. So yesterday, if you're not familiar, I did a live stream with my friend John, and we were talking men's mental health, because June is Men's Mental Health Month. I mean, it coincides with Pride and military. Like, I think there's a military something, military or army, or so, I can't remember. I know there's something that coincides as well, and I know that uh, people get up in arms about which one you decide to recognize, and I'm like, they can all be at the same time. There is room for more than one thing, and I mean, that's just going to be how the way that this channel goes anyway. Um, but I think that, I mean, it's such an under like discussed issue, that I mean, if you watch the beginning of it, and even it was a rough start. I mean, just I don't even know where to start with it. I don't know I don't know enough about even talking about mental health, like just being comfortable enough. I mean, I can talk about my health journey. I can talk about the things that I've gone through. I can talk about all of the TMI stuff that I went through, being 400 plus pounds. Those things I can talk about all day long, because they are pertinent to this channel. And I know that there are people out there struggling that need to hear that type of stuff. But when it comes to other aspects of mental health, I think we even discussed yesterday the idea that overeating, and then I think even like the overeating, the lack of satiety signal, the satiety signaling gets all screwed up, and that's a segue into one of the things I did want to discuss in this live today, was just satiety overall, because it was something that was slightly addressed yesterday. But I think a lot of people on the outside of this community don't understand satiety, and they think that it's like, if you can't control what you eat, that it's a lack of willpower, it's a lack of drive. You just want to eat what you want to eat. And then that's partially true in some aspects because I think when you have the satiety signaling all messed up and you are eating to being more than comfortably full, you're eating to stuffed and beyond, to even beyond to where it's possibly dangerous for yourself to fill yourself with that much food. It's not a willpower issue. You're long gone. Like willpower is kind of over when you put the Oreos in the cart. Willpower is over. You've already lost the willpower game when you put that stuff in the cart or when you pull to the drive-through. That the willpower is gone long before you ever put that food to your lips. Willpower is already kind of out of the equation as far as I'm concerned. Now, I mean, there is some willpower. Like, I mean, it does come into play, yes. But I think that people look at obesity from the outside of this community. I know in this instance, I'm for the most part preaching to the choir. But when it comes to what it's like to be a person that has little control on how much food you are going to put into your body because I would literally make the most ridiculous meals and then do everything in my power to eat it all every day. And it was a multifaceted affair. I mean, it was hunger, it was this lack of satiety, it was a coping mechanism. So I mean, that plays into the mental health, men's health month, it played in, so there's a soothing aspect, there's a comforting aspect, well, my life, maybe my life isn't where I want it to be right now. So I'm just going to eat this food. And then I like the feeling of eating all that food and then just being sleepy and drifting off to sleep. That was a natural occurrence for me. Now, whether I stayed asleep all night was a whole other story. I mean, I was a person that was on, heartburn medication since I was 19 years old. So 19 until into my mid 30s I was on a heartburn medication. And even still it rears its ugly head if I'm off track. I'll get heartburn, I'll get indigestion. Sometimes I'll get indigestion just from like beef, butter, bacon, and eggs if I eat too late. So just the timing of eating and then laying down, that kind of thing can kind of come into play. But I think when it comes to satiety signaling and it comes to the idea of willpower, yes, willpower comes into play when you're at the grocery store and you decide to turn down that cookie aisle, you decide to turn down that snack and chip aisle, you decide to go down the ice cream aisle, you decide to go down the pizza aisle, and you're not just kind of sticking to your plan because especially in the very beginning, if you're going to the grocery store without a plan, I think that you're probably going to find things in your cart you didn't mean for there to be there. That doesn't mean you have to put a list because I can write a list and then I don't have everything on my list, but I have a plan. I have an idea of what I want to purchase and I have an idea of what I normally purchase. So when I go into the grocery store, I know typically if I'm going to Walmart, for example, I'm going to be most likely getting frozen burger patties for myself. They have these packaged steaks that are a little bit cheaper than they're like they're like the thick plastic vacuum sealed steaks. They're a little bit cheaper than like a couple dollar per pound cheaper than like the three steaks per package or whatever their family packs of steaks. They're cheaper. So I mean they just say they're beef. I don't know if that's a lie or whatever, but I mean at this point in the game we make okay money, or Chandra makes okay money, but groceries are expensive, especially if you're trying to eat steak. You're trying to have eggs, and egg prices are crazy. They're finally starting to come down. Heavy cream prices are insane. Butter prices are crazy. All the things that we are trying to put in our cart right now. And so I have an idea of what I'm getting at each store. So I go to each store with a plan. I don't necessarily have a list because I'm not a list guy, but I have a plan. So I think you have to be able to go in and go and try to stay on track. So I'm not putting cookies in the cart. I do go and I check the clearance aisle, and a lot of times it's stuff that we don't need. And I'm thinking that's a really good deal. Maybe and no, they have like the rack at the back that's like the discounted donuts and stuff. I always look at that stuff because I like a good deal, but I don't buy them. Sometimes I might. I don't like donuts, but I mean sometimes they have discounted Rice Krispie treats, but that's none of your business. But you know what I'm saying. And yeah, and Sandy's saying that yesterday that was a great. I thought it was a struggle at first, and I hope that we were able to get some good information out there. It's just I mean it's not even a tip of the iceberg. It's not even a scratch of the surface because it's such an undervalued thing. I think it's such a thing that gets overlooked by so many people, mostly us, mostly men ourselves, because we have this idea, and I'm generalizing here, and I'm not speaking for all men, but I am generalizing to a point because I've been around a lot of men in my life, and most of us don't talk about our feelings. We just don't. We don't talk about necessarily what's bothering us. We don't That's just not part of our communication skills necessarily. Shannon and I will talk about things and I'll bring up things sometimes, but I don't often even worry about things that bother me. When I get together with my friends, we're not talking about things like that. I mean, we might complain about, our spouse. We may complain about, this, that, or the other, but it's never anything deeper than a surface level. So I just think it is a very important thing, just right up there. I mean, it's just as important as, what goes on your plate. But it is a tough it's a far more difficult topic to broach because I do not understand how to talk about that kind of stuff. I mean, I like to think of myself as a relatively um in touch person. I'm in touch with my feelings. I mean, I have a wide range of emotions. I'm not angry all the time. I'm not weird and manic or anything like that most of the time. I'm usually pretty even keel to the point where Chandra's typically upset with me sometimes when she gets really angry or frustrated, and I'm not angry and frustrated along with her. But I'm just like, it's not my default. My default is even. My default is, well, we got to get it done. And I think, I mean, stoicism, I guess, is kind of a way you would look at that. But I don't know. Like, it's a new concept to really dig into it. And and John and I talked yesterday about things, and he had some concepts that I'm not quite sure that I necessarily agree with. And he's like, well, you like, those are facts. And I'm like, well, this is a new concept for me. So I was like, I understand what you're saying, but I've got to sit with it for a while before I kind of can truly decide how I feel about it. And I think that there is probably some truth to the idea. It's like anger is all by fear, and fear. There's just little concepts that I'm not fully fleshed out on my own brain, so I haven't kind of given it the full rundown. But yeah, so and Jerry's was like, very intense, and it was a great show. So I appreciate that. I'm really glad that as I worry about that, I want to make sure I'm providing good content for all of you. Brian Doyle says Ozempic update, morning glucose at 79 this morning, no side effects, and down 11 pounds in a month. Also, 4 days in a row of excellent sleep scores on watch. That's fantastic. I love that. Brian also says it's amazing that I am just never hungry and that I have to force myself to eat, focusing on protein. Yeah, because one of the side effects that I'm understanding with these GLP-1 things, these injectables is it's taking away lean mass. So it is removing lean mass along with some fat, but predominantly lean protein or lean mass. So you want to make sure that if before this you were eating X amount of protein, and again, this is not any kind of advice, this is just information that I have seen. So I'm just regurgitating information here. So it's not advice or health by any stretch of the imagination, because I am not a doctor or a healthcare professional of any sort. But I would say that I've seen that they are recommending to up your protein even higher than you were before, just to counteract that kind of that protein synthesis or whatever you want to call it. And Rick is like 57 years, never drunk or smoked. Well, you are a diamond in the rough, Mr. Rick. Most people cannot say that. I mean, I had a shot of alcohol last night. It was kind of like my birthday, you know what I mean? I had a shot of whiskey. I enjoy whiskey from time to time. Um, I'm glad I didn't quit smoking. I'm glad I did that. Sandy says, thumbs up, please. I appreciate that very much. Tanya says a loopy Dustin is better than no Dustin. I agree. I'm pretty cool in my own mind. Everyone's saying hello to Rick. Rick, it's Pickle Rick. Brian says, temptations makes you stronger if you can pass them up. It's another one of the vitamin P practices. Yeah, I mean, that's just one of those things like it's a definite test to myself, because we've been empty nesters for a while, then our boys are back living with us temporarily, but we've been fortunate that we've been able to control mostly what comes in and out of the house. So typically there's nothing in the house of temptation. I mean, with our granddaughter here, we have some like hash browns. She likes hash brown, they're like the fast food ones, the little round ones you can get at like Hardee's or whatever. They're called Crowns if you buy them at the store, at least the Orida brand or whatever. There's those. I'm not too big on those. If I do sneak and it's like one or two, just when they're fresh out of the air fryer and crispy, crunchy. Outside of that, she waits till they cool down and get like soft, and I'm like, I can't handle that. I can't. I got to have something a little bit better than that. So, you know, um, I don't mind one of those every once in a while, like when they're nice and like one of the nice brown ones. I don't mind those, but I just, I'm really careful with that. Let's see. Brick says, I had a dream a couple nights ago that someone had set up a meet up in here in Miami. But when I got there, I was actually a Pride Festival. That doesn't sound too bad. I mean, whatever. Whatever floats your boat. Matt Franklin is in the house. Good morning, Mr. Franklin. I'm glad to see you. I hope you and Sarah are doing well. Let's see. Cindy says, for those you in the chat that just joined us on Friday, if you didn't get to your comments, I'm so sorry. I was really trying to keep up. That was as well as the conversation. Like yesterday, Cindy, I didn't touch on a single comment yesterday during that conversation. And that's going to be kind of how Sundays go. Most of the time, I think it's nice to let that person talk, because I do get to comments on Tuesdays and Sundays. So when I do have a Saturday conversation, it's probably going to be less comment oriented unless there's something very valuable. I think I even missed a super chat from Russ yesterday, so I sent him a text afterwards, and I told him I appreciated that, but I think I missed it, and I didn't even get a chance to acknowledge it. It was a very intense conversation, so yeah. Rick says I'm in the Quackerverse. Yes, I would agree with that. And Sean's asking, have I given any thought to doing anything in a meetup and replace the KPL? I don't think I have the ability. I don't think I don't have the capital because and something that I've talked on and touched on before is KPL is like an 80 to $100,000 capital expenditure. I don't have that kind of money. And not that I don't think I couldn't pull it off, but that's a big risk for us. So I don't think I'm the person, but I know there are people that are probably in the works and trying to put things together. Nothing's fleshed out yet, but hopefully we can get there and hopefully we can get a replacement because it is nice to have that, 3 to 4 days and spend time with people. It's such a great thing to have. And I'm gonna miss it, especially coming up this October. It's gonna be rough not having that in place. So Andy is here. Andy and Susan from Alaska. I imagine if you're in Alaska, it's like what 3 in the morning in Alaska right now, 4 in the morning in Alaska, depending on where you are. Good morning. Thank you for coming in, and hopefully you're getting some good rest on the ship, and you and Susan are having a good time and all the fun with everybody. I am jelly that I'm not there. I really wish I could be on that cruise. Maybe one of these days I'll get to go on a low carb or a KPL cruise. I really wish that would be. Really wish I could do that. I would. I mean, I would love. I would love to be able to do a meetup like KPL. I really wish I could. I just don't think I'm the one to be able to do it now. Maybe in the future, maybe if I have a little more financial stability, then I would be able to do something like that, a little more pull, a little more, a little more reach, if you will. Maybe like how Autumn had a nice, good reach, and she relied on the speakers as well. So she would have Dr. Barry would have that, and everyone would show up because of Dr. Barry. So maybe it's not that it's not going to be this year or next year, but we'll see what I don't know. And Karen's in the house. I just want to say hi to Karen. Thank you for being here, dear. But Jerry here is correct. Chris Cook and Astro's talking about a meetup like Meat Stock. Stay tuned. Yeah, and I'm excited to see how that goes. We'll see how that all goes. Jeff is asking, and I don't have an answer for this particular question, but he's asking how are people dealing with inflammation on the sugar diet? I honestly don't know. I haven't had a chance to watch Emily and James's video from yesterday. I've had a lot of stuff going on. So I need to sit down maybe later today and watch that and see if they talk about any inflammation. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Let's see. Let's see. People talking to each other. And John says, they say that the sugar makes you more insulin sensitive, a lot of protein with fat associated with it. While, let's see, with it, while ketovore, some veg and some dairy did add fat and leaner protein. Okay. Yeah, I just think there's just a lot of stuff we're not understanding right now. And I think it may be a paradigm shift as people find out things and how they work for them, and then they start getting lab work back. But I think there's still going to be something to do with insulin sensitivity. If you can get if you've been doing keto long enough, I would say that there is probably a good chance that logically speaking, that being in ketosis 100% of the time is probably not the body's preferred state. I would say just like being in a glucose state, high glucose state most of the time is not the body's preferred state either. Not burning or not creating or being able to utilize ketones efficiently is not the body's appropriate state. And I think that there's probably some merit to the theory that I have about the fact that I would imagine that being in ketosis all the time probably isn't something the body truly likes either. And I know that that is a very big taboo thing to say in this community. But I've kind of wondered that since the beginning, just understanding that if you only burning sugar and you're only burning sugar, then you switch to only burning ketones. that's kind of like, well, we're gonna go from this to only this now. I mean, I would say that it's probably better for us to be able to effectively burn both, is that's why I don't necessarily think sugar in of itself is poison. And I know that's another type of taboo in our community. I think the dose of sugar is where it leads to poison. I think if you have, if you're somebody who's been down this journey for a while and you've kind of got your numbers in order and you can tolerate a few berries, I think being able to tolerate a little bit of sugar is probably beneficial for us. Not being able to tolerate any sugar at all outside of being a type 1 diabetic, I think if you are a person with a, a functioning pancreas and you can't handle, and you've been keto or carnivore for a good amount of time and you can't process the glucose, I think then there's probably some kind of issue. I think our body should be able to handle both sides of it because we're going to come in contact with it. In theory, as far as evolution is concerned, we would have come in contact and had to process it. And I think if you get to a point where you can process ketones very effectively, but you now lack the ability to have any kind of control and ability to effectively process and utilize glucose, that's probably not a good thing either. And yeah. Sean says, I was having the same problem, John. 2KK told me to increase my fat. It really helped. Fat is your friend. Fat's the lever. I think fat's a lever to help us kind of shoehorn ourselves into feeling pretty good. And Cindy says she still has to watch the whole live from yesterday. It's a tough watch. I mean, it was a tough for me doing it. I think it's necessary. Sandy said, my brother had tongue cancer, rebuilt half his tongue with skin grafts from inner wrist and had hair growing out of his tongue. Oh, that sounds awful because just from that dream that I had, it was so realistic. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the 250th Army anniversary yesterday. Fantastic. And he says, we arrive in Sitka this morning for our first Alaska port call. Yesterday was a seminar talks and panels, which were very well received and very informational. Well, I forgot all about that part of it. I just think cruise and I forget about like the talks and stuff. I don't know how I'd feel about that. Like a low carb cruise and just being with a bunch of people who are low carb, I think that would be fun. I don't know if I want to waste being on a cruise ship listening to that kind of stuff. I'm like, I do that all the time. I think that's kind of like, I don't want to go on a cruise and then be like, I don't know. I guess it would have to be people that I would really want to see that I haven't heard before. Sean said, I got a lot out of yesterday's live, Dustin. Thank you for your open. Oh, I appreciate that. I mean, I'm a very open book. So I mean, any questions you guys ask, I mean, unless it is not too personal, and I don't mean personal as my journey, but personal as like family and stuff like that, then I'm more willing to talk about all that stuff. And Matt's right. So I mean, Matt says, mental health isn't discussed enough. It's because we as men have been told all our lives, suck it up, and men don't show emotions. And we touched on that yesterday. And I mean, and it gets a little vulgar and crass to it. I mean, I was as a kid, suck it up, pussy. You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of, I mean, that's just growing up in the 80s. And I mean, was it right? No. But I think at the same time, the people who were saying it to me were just regurgitating what their parents told them. And, you know, there's a lot of anger and a lot of regressed. I don't like to use the word trauma all that much. I and this is coming from me being ignorant, but I want to say that like I think focusing too much on past trauma is probably not as beneficial as we think it might be, but I don't know. Brides Biscuits is in the house. Up firm. Andy says it's currently 3:30 a.m. Alaska time, but I am listening to my Sunday morning ritual for the past year or usual. Susan is sleeping. Well, I mean, it's 3:30 in the morning. Of course she's sleeping. And if she was awake, I would lull her back to sleep and say, Susan, just roll over and tuck into the blanket and just listen to the soothing sounds of the ocean and just relax. Just relax and listen to the ocean waves and the warmth of the blanket and just get all cozy and just drift back off to sleep. There you go. Oh, my goodness gracious. Travers is in the house. Good morning, Travers. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I think the more processed foods and I think the more processed foods, the more hyper palatable foods I would say is probably going to be doing that. It's going to have an issue. Yes, I agree with this as well. So sugar is a drug. So sugar is a fuel source. Sugar is a fuel source that the body recognizes. It even makes its own glucose. So I wouldn't necessarily think that. I think the problem with sugar is it can be very hyper palatable. But have you ever just tried to take a spoonful of sugar? It's not that great. Like just table sugar in a spoon form is not that great. It's not that fun. It's not easy to eat. You don't want it. I think sugar in of itself, I think once you start mixing the sugar with the fats and sugar with whatever, making them into gummies or making them into easy things to eat, I think is the problem. I think naturally occurring sugar in nature is not that much of an issue to most people. And I think I worry about us looking and labeling sugar as a drug or as poison because yes, too much sugar in the body is poison. Too much insulin in the body is poison, but we have to have insulin. Insulin is a growth hormone and does impact us, and we have to have some. Just like you can get water poisoning, you can drink so much water that you die. So I think we have to kind of relax a little bit on some of this stuff. Like sugar can be poisonous to us, but also sugar is a fuel that we can utilize for energy. So yes, it is or can it is it can be both things. It can be an energy source. It can act like a drug if it's in hyper palatable food, very sugary foods that are delicious and you just can't stop eating them. Yeah, it can be very much like a drug, and then it can be very poisonous to us. But on the whole, I think we have to be careful how we label such things and what would be considered like and maybe malinformation because it's true, but it could be harmful to some people, right? That's kind of the definition of malinformation. Something that's true, but could be damaging. So it's true, but it can be damaging. So the idea that sugar, to me, I don't think is poison. I think how sugar is utilized in modern foods leads to it being poisonous to us because of hyperpalatability, overconsumption, and I think the how it can cause destruction in our satiety pathways. So I would say that, like I said, if you've ever just taken a packet of sugar and just dumped it on your tongue, it's not that pleasant. It's not very good. It's not awesome, you know? Low carb spin is in the house. Good morning, Karen. Hi to all in the chat. Happy Father's Day. Well, thank you so very much. I appreciate that very, very much. I appreciate all the Father's Day things very much. It does mean a lot to me, very much. Let's see. Tanya said, last thing I overate to the point of bursting pain was penne a la vodka like 8 years ago. pastas, macaroni and cheese, corn dogs, just hyper palatable foods. I had an issue with hyper palatable foods. Cheap, easy to make, get home from work, make hyper palatable foods, gorge myself into oblivion, watch TV, go to sleep, repeat. And Andy says, I'm watching from the beginning 2 times faster. Happy Father's Day, Dustin. All this excitement. I totally forgot it's Father's Day. I have to hug my father friends here with us. Please do. Please do. Sean says, today is my oldest sister's 60th birthday. They are all celebrating today. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I went down last month to celebrate her. Well, that's fantastic. I love that. I'm excited because my cousin and her kids are going to be in town on the 28th, which means I won't be going to the meetup that Andy and Susan are throwing. But don't forget, there is a meetup coming that Andy and Susan are throwing on the 28th. You can find that information on lowcarbevents.com. So be mindful if you are in the Ohio area, Indiana, Kentucky, take a look. Maybe go. Have a good time. Jerry says, I've not eaten pasta for 5 years. Can't say I missed it. Pasta, I mean, and you can tell me, and I can tell myself pasta is just a vessel, but there's a mouthfeel to it. There's a texture to it. I'm a true food addict. I love pasta. I love all of that because it's delicious to me. And, I have to be honest and open about that because that's how I feel. And, and now that I have satiety and I have control of that, it's not as bothersome. It doesn't really irk me or keep me awake at night like it may used to, but it's still there. I still would love to have a big bowl of pasta, even though I know it's going to make me feel like crap and I'm going to have heartburn or indigestion afterwards. Still want it. No, I shouldn't have it. I have a better control over it and I don't have it, but it's still something that's kind of ever present. Let's see. Matt said, Andy, when you see Rachel, just say balls for me. Oh my goodness. I love being like 11. It's fine. And Cindy said, Matt, you are so right. Brian, aka the guinea pig, can be a very emotional person. That I love that about him. He has a tendency to keep some things inside, but not always. We all kind of carry, things that, because I don't think, even if it is something, we don't always feel like we need to share everything. I don't think I need to share everything with Chandra. I have things I don't tell my closest friends. I probably tell you guys more than I tell anybody else, but I mean, there's things I don't talk about. There's things that nobody else needs to know. And that's okay. Lindy's in the house. Lindy's in the house. Ooh, Lindy's in the house. Good morning, Lindy. Tanya says, Sean, I have a sister birthday too. She is here home in Pennsylvania from Tennessee for her big 40. All right. Happy 40th. That's right. Sean says, Jerry, those Miracle egg noodles are really good if you ever want to try them. Yeah, the Miracle noodles that are made with egg whites, Chandra has tried those and likes them a lot. I didn't get a chance to try them, but I am looking forward to hopefully finding some more. They're not that easy to find right now. Walmart doesn't carry them yet, but I imagine that they will eventually. And he says, I'll do that. She and Joe are so amazing. I told her last night that in our 3-year friendship, I still crave her hug and warm smile. She is just a fun friend, Joe, as well. Yeah, I mean, she's a dream. And no, they don't smell fishy because they're egg whites, water, and there's like a chemical that kind of binds it together and makes it a noodle. It's there's videos out there like Chris Cook in Nashville. Chris Cook in Nashville has a video. I'm trying to think. I know other people have videos on it too. I just can't think of who it is right now. Maybe Steve from Serious Keto has one. I think I can't remember. Lenny said, "Happy Father's Day to all the dads." Oh, let's see. Cindy says, "I prefer healthy noodle brand that I found at Costco. Can be bought online. They are great." Yeah, we've had those. I can't remember how I felt about them. I think they're okay, but I don't really remember. The infamous Aaron Booby Goats is in the house. Good morning, Aaron. Oh, oh, oh. People saying good morning. People saying good morning. Yeah, I was just, yeah, Travers is, yeah, I don't even know if it's 40%. I thought it might be 60%, like a 60-40 split, 60% protein, 40% fat, but I'm not sure. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Sean Bradley. Look at this. Sean Bradley for $20. Happy Father's Day. Happy early birthday. You are awesome. Celebrate your awesomeness. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate you, Sean. You and Shell, you guys are awesome, and I'm truly glad that we've had a chance to meet and get to know each other. And you're in this life, in my life, this community. You're a true blessing, and I appreciate you so very much. I really do. Thank you again so very much. You can even see the little Mickey lamp. I haven't found a way to plug it in where it can sit there. I've got to figure that out. I got to figure out where I can plug it in and it can sit there because I got to figure it out. I'll figure it out. I just haven't. Jeremiah says, "Good morning. Crispy crowns, fries, and ice cream is my downfall. Let's see. I've lived without cereal for a while, minimal bread, but the sweets are hard to turn down. Here's some advice that's not medical advice. Just don't buy it. Don't buy it. Don't bring it into the house. And I know you've got daughters and I know they're going to want it, but the less access that you have to it, that they have to it on a regular basis, the overall better everything's going to be. So you can't necessarily control your cravings if they're in the house. You don't have grown children, so you control what food comes in the house. And that's what we did. Our kids were mad, but they were better for it. Now they're grown and they can buy their own food and drive themselves to the grocery. So it's a little more difficult for us to do anything about it. So while you can try to control a little bit more, and if it's an issue, don't buy it. Let's see. Let's see. I heard some peptides, micro doses help receptors for leptin resistance. I got to look into that because I don't understand what any of that means. So I don't know anything about that right at all. Darth Carnivore, Mr. Charlie is here. Happy Father's Day, Dustin, and all the fellow dads out there. Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate that so very much. Hope you are doing well, my friend. Happy Father's Day to you. I imagine you'll have some kind of steak tonight that has a handle on it or something like that, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. Uh, Cindy says to Jeremiah, "Did you get that keto chow cup at Goodwill? That was awesome." And he said, "Yes, he did." Jerry said, "Butter woman." All right. So Travers is asking what KPL is. It stands for Keto Palooza. It was a 5-year running convention style get together. More or less, there was, I mean, it was kind of, it was like part convention, but mostly family reunion. It was a chance to get a lot of people together for a 3-day weekend. But at towards the end of it, we started kind of coming in and being there for like 4 days. Like last year, I was there for 4 days. Um, it was held in Louisville, Kentucky, at the Galt House. We'd have speakers like Dr. Barry, Maria Emmerich. Let's see, just a lot of different speakers. I can't think of them all right now. I'm a little tired right now. My brain is not firing on all cylinders. Um, but it was a phenomenal thing. I only got to go to two. There were five total. Autumn from she used to be Watch Autumn Keto on YouTube. She's changed her name, but she's still Autumn. She's going to be at Low Carb for Better Health down in Dixon, Tennessee this year. So that'll be fun. I don't know if I'm going to get to go to that or not. Just really depends. It's probably unlikely. I would really like to go because I love Amanda. She's amazing what she does. Dr. Barry, Nisha, and everybody involved. Um, but KPL was really just it was like Friday night. You could get together. There were games, and we got to just be together. It's like a live stream in person. It was awesome. Hopefully, we can kind of get something like that going again in a place that's centrally located somewhere that's not too crazily priced. Yeah, Lindy says it makes me really sad about KPL. 100%. Well, Travers is saying that all animals in the wild are in a ketogenic state all the time. I don't necessarily think that that's a natural. I mean, I don't think it's really for us all the time. And we're starting to see different things about that. I mean, I could be wrong, but like, I just, and I'm not trying to go against, the community, but I think, we are here to make sure we are being the healthiest we can be. And I don't want to see I'm not going to ever be a dogmatic person, and I'm always going to question things. Just like being, just like trying to be a sugar burner 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 50, 60 years is doing us no benefit. I don't know how the average person trying to be in ketosis all the time is going to behave. Is it a healthy state to be in most of the time? I would say most of the time, yes. But I don't think we evolved to be in it all the time, because there were times where we were not able to find meat and we were in starvation mode, which is going to be a ketogenic state. Then we would find apples or berries and we would gorge on those, and we would eat as many as we could find and that helped put fat on our body to survive wintertime. If we can't store fat on our body and we're always lean, we're not gonna survive winter. So we have to think, we have to look at conditions outside of our control being a factor and how our body reacts to its environment. That would lead me to think that maybe being in ketosis all the time probably wasn't a state that we were in all the time, considering that we did need to gain fat at certain parts of the year to survive harsh winters, to stay warmer, and to help us make it through maybe not having food. Whereas where animals can hibernate and they can kind of shut down they can, like, a bear will hibernate, a bear will still store fat. Bears are eating berries and anything they can get their hands on or their paws on. So, a bear is not 100% carnivore because a bear will eat anything it can find: honey, berries, anything. So I would say that that's how I would look at it. I just think that, you know, I think that, yeah, and I see down here that you're saying that, Dr. Chavy did a very good talk on this. And I think, I think that, we're going to have some of the more carnivore centric doctors and influencers, maybe leaning away from that idea. But I kind of wonder, is that the best option for us? Should it be explored? I think it should be explored. I think that just getting to a point where carnivore keto is the way and that's it, all done. I don't think that's good for us either. Um, T minus 15 minutes till coffee. I don't have 15 minutes of coffee left. Yeah, Brian is here, Mr. Guinea Pig himself. Good morning, everyone, and happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you, my friend. I'm glad to see you. Let's see. For me to break a 2 year stall, yes, it was sad. Kelly Hogan, as my coach, broke the stall. Brian said that's nothing. It is grew up in the 60s and 70s. I was alive very briefly in the 70s. I was born in June of 1979. So I was around for a little, like around 6 months of the 70s. But, you know, it wasn't really till the 80s that I started, being alive. I mean, being able to live and all that stuff. Charlie says, cooking burgers, bacon, and eggs on the griddle this morning while listening in. We'll have to catch Dustin's live from yesterday. Missed the first hour. So yesterday's live was only about an hour total. So I think it was just over an hour yesterday. So Andy, wake up. The soothing sounds of Dustin's jazzy voice. Yes. Yes. You will fall for it, and you will fall asleep. Jerry's joined Kelly Hogan's group. Well, I mean, if you thought about like how bad, like they used to use castor oil as medicine, so of course spoonful of sugar and some castor oil is going to be good for you. That's going to be. But then again, you figure even back then, like in the 40s, you probably didn't even have a spoonful of sugar, but maybe a couple times a week, maybe you weren't eating pounds of sugar a day. I think, like our modern consumption is driving most of it. Yeah, meat has sugar in it. Meat does have sugar in it. I mean, it's trace amounts. It's like an egg. An egg is about 0.2 grams of sugar per egg, 0.2 grams. So, you figure somewhere in the range of about 1 gram of carbohydrates per 4 or 5 eggs, maybe. Maybe you can maybe round that to a gram of carbs every 2 eggs, maybe. And that's kind of like what I discussed in that little short that I made about the dextrose and salt. Every so often, the idea or the realization that there is dextrose in iodized salt freaks everybody out. But if you take a look at a 600-gram container of iodized salt, there is 0.238, roughly 0.238 grams of glucose or dextrose in there, or 1 egg's worth of glucose for about a year's supply of salt. So again, you've got to look at the dose. You've got to dig a little deeper. You got to dig a little deeper, find out what you are. That's right. I mean, I know what I'm saying. I know. I've seen that movie before 100 times. And he said, Jerry, I've been in Kelly Hogan's group since March. Her handbook is amazing and very informative. It's up to 347 pages of information. That's crazy. Yeah, you can drown in a drink of water. You know what I mean? It goes on the wrong pipe. Gone curtains. And Sean says, my problem with sugar is how addictive it is. You can't just eat one. No, no, I know. And the thing is, I don't necessarily think it's just the sugar. It's the combination of the fat, the sugar, the cocoa, the cream. It's a combination of hyper palatable foods. Because I mean, if it was just sugar, we would all just be sitting around with funnels pouring 5-pound bags of sugar into our mouth. But that's not what we're doing. It's mixed with water and caramel coloring, and we're drinking it, and it tastes delicious because it's fizzy. And actually, anymore, I know the difference right away with sugary sodas, and I just can't tolerate it. And because I mean, every once in a while, it might happen where you have a sip by mistake or they bring you the wrong one, but I'll just get a feeling in the back of my throat and I'll just know. But I just don't think it's necessarily just the sugar. It's what you mix it in and what you make it with and how palatable it becomes, how delicious they make it. And then you're just stuffing your face full. And that's okay sometimes, but now our culture has come to the point where it's all the time. It's not just on your birthday or Christmas or like a random celebration or something. It's every day. People are going through Starbucks getting a coffee milkshake with with a cupcake. They're basically getting a cupcake and a milkshake and a cupcake for breakfast. You're getting like a chocolate chip muffin, and then a milkshake, and then maybe you're getting a bagel, and then you're getting, it's like, and some fruity cream cheese, and it just doesn't stop. It just keeps going and going and going. So, oh, let's see. And Sean says, I just think how you're going to feel once. Okay, that's talking to Jared about how her hip's doing. Yeah, it sucks right now, but once that hip is healed, you're gonna feel so much better. Karen says, not a pasta fan. I don't like mashed potatoes either. I saw a short the other day, and it was intriguing to me because there's a lady that's putting out content, and this is something that works for her. And again, this is a no judgment place. This is, we have to be open to what works for people. And she does a thing where she does a 3-bite rule. So she'll go to her favorite fast food restaurant, and she's not keto by any stretch of the imagination. She's more of a calorie counter, and I do get a lot of different kinds of content in my feed. And she gets like, the sandwich, and she takes 3 nice bites out of it. She wraps it back up. She gets her like onion rings or French fries, takes 3 big bites of those, like three healthy pinches of French fries, and then she has her beverage and she throws it all away. And then she showed something, I think it was at Popeyes. They have like these the Popeyes Louisiana kitchen. Is that what that is? I can't remember. But they have like these blackened chicken strips. So they're just seasoned, they're not breaded. And then instead of getting a dipping sauce, because the dipping sauce is high in sugar and calories, because she's a calorie counter, she gets like the small portion of mashed potatoes and gravy, and she dips her chicken, her tenders in that, and that's only supposedly 19 carbs. I haven't looked that up to see for sure, and it's something I can look up because I do have the internet. I have the power, right? Let's see. Popeyes. Let's see. Mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes and gravy nutrition. Let me take a look and see. So this is what it's showing me here for the nutritional size for Popeyes mashed potatoes and gravy. Regular size, 110 calories, 4 grams of fat, 2 of which are saturated. Carbohydrates, 18 grams, fiber 1. So 18 total carbs, sugars 1 gram, protein 3, sodium 590. And if you do the large size, it's 330 calories, 12 grams of fat, 6 of which are saturated. Carbohydrates jumps to 54 grams, fiber 1, sugar 3, protein 9. So it seems like everything goes up by 3 except for maybe 18 times 3 is that. I don't know. I'm not good at math. I'm not a mathematician. I just look pretty on the internet. But yeah, and I was thinking to myself, if I ever wanted a snack and just wanted some mashed potatoes and gravy, I mean, that's not a huge thing, but I'm not a big fast food person, so I was just, but that's definitely an intrusive thought, definitely a thought to keep in consideration. But I mean, I'm not a moderator, so I have to be careful and take these kinds of things into consideration. But yeah. And Cindy says keeping things bottled inside can be a rough way to go through life. Um, I used to do that. Hence another added reason for me, let's see, for me of high blood pressure. Yeah, I just kind of think like I don't keep things bottled up in a negative way. I just have things. I mean, for me, there's just things that I don't talk about with people. I think those are things that are just for me. And I think there are things that I talk about openly with anybody and everybody who will listen, a la like this platform. And there's things that I'll talk about with Shander. There's things I won't talk about with her. There's things I'll talk about with my friends. I mean, because you got to talk a little shit sometimes, about your spouse to your friends, because she's doing it. You know what I mean? It's like you just kind of vent a little bit to your friends. It's not a negative thing necessarily, but I think you just kind of get it out and let it go, and I mean that's fine. But I don't really think that I don't really. I used to hold grudges really bad back in the day, and I just didn't find that was something that was really beneficial to me. So yeah. Jaqueline is here. She says frying up 3 pounds of bacon. She's gonna bring me two. All right. I love it. Did I miss? Yeah, Karen. I said hello to Karen. Yeah, I said hello to Karen. Fantastic. All right. I just want to make sure I don't meet anybody. Tanya's out of here. Gotta go. Mitch Fitz Unite. Thank you, Dustin, and all you cool people. You're very welcome. Oh, I'm probably not gonna be sticking around all that much longer. Probably just another couple of minutes. I'm almost out of coffee, and I'm very sleepy. Sean says all the presentations on the low carb cruise are recorded. They will put them out after the cruise is over. At least they did for 2023 cruise and that show and I went on. That'd be cool. Shelly King is in the house. Good morning, Shelly. I'm so very glad to see you. I hope you're doing well, my dear. Oh, Autumn's on the low carb cruise. Well, tell her if you're on the cruise, tell Autumn that Dustin Keto Simple says hello and that we truly miss her in this community. And I think that's about all I have really for her. I mean, I don't want to weird her out or I don't want to ever make her feel uncomfortable. But yeah, just let her know that we miss her. I miss seeing her. They would go live on Sundays shortly after me, and I miss that. I truly do miss that because they would go live about 9:30. So I would usually end my live around then so we could go hang out with them. Charlie says, I'm going to my first low carb for better health this fall. Hopefully I'll see some of you there. Charlie, what's the plan for you? Are you getting a hotel? Like what's the plan for you? Because I mean, I don't know. Are you driving down and coming back? I know it's kind of a 2-day thing now, but kind of maybe text me and let me know what you're doing. I don't know if that would make much of a difference for me and my ability to go or not. Maybe splitting it in half would be a lot easier. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. Lindy, have a good one. I'll see you soon, my dear. Yeah, babies are in ketosis, but they're also living off their mother's food or breast milk in the first few months. I mean, and I'm not saying that being in ketosis most of the time isn't beneficial. I just don't know, and I don't think we've been able to prove that being in ketosis all of the time is truly beneficial. Just like we know that fasting, there are certain limits and there's certain times where, whether it's dry fasting or just water fasting or whatever, there's certain amounts of things where you're going to see the most benefit. Then you start to see a lower rate of return. So I just kind of wonder. And like I said, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a researcher. This is just coming from me, kind of just looking at how everything works and things get put together. I just kind of think I'm not going to be somebody who says, you know, you have to be in ketosis all the time or you're not going to be healthy. I don't necessarily think it is truly beneficial. It's probably there's probably a limited amount of return for all the time. Most of the time, probably the most beneficial. There's probably some ratio out there. There's probably a ratio of how much you should be in ketosis versus not that we don't know. I mean, because humans are a species with amnesia. It's possible that we have grown to society to into societies with vast technologies multiple times over and been wiped out over the last couple of million years. It's possible, but we are a species with amnesia. We can't even remember what we should be eating 200 years ago with the written word, or what our great grandparents ate. We don't eat now. And that's just kind of a weird thing to think about to me. Yeah, and I think Bride's Biscuits got a point here. I mean, till I see solid science saying otherwise, I think metabolic flexibility is probably the best thing. I think that being able to handle whatever you can throw at your body out of necessity is probably going to be the best bet. And like I said, I know that that's probably not the most popular thing amongst most of the community right now, especially the carnivore community or the very strict keto community where people worry about being kicked out of ketosis and things like that. But I think just being realistic, we have to make sure that we aren't moving forward dogmatically. We're going forward with our health in mind because we don't want to end up being like Ansel Keys. Ansel Keys was convinced that saturated fat was the problem, to the point where he started the American Heart Association with Procter and Gamble and their Crisco and all of that, and cherry pick data to show his point because he knew he was right. He was convinced he was right. And look at the damage that did by being convinced he was right. So we've got to look at history and ensure we're not repeating it just the other way around. And I'm not saying, and I'm not telling people to not be in ketosis by any stretch of the imagination. I am very pro proper human diet. And I imagine even being in ketosis most of the time, 70-80% is probably the best course. But in the very beginning, probably being in ketosis as much as humanly possible is probably the best benefit. So, with that being said, I just kind of, like I said, I'm not anybody special. I'm just a pretty face on the internet. You know what I'm saying? So these are just theories of mine, and I just, I want to make sure we're not making the same mistakes that people have made in the past and got us into places that we don't want to be. Ansel Keys, the dietary guidelines of the 70s and 80s, the low fat ideas, all these things that's got us in a lot of trouble over the last 100+ years, just because we knew we were right. And I don't want to know that I'm right. I want to prove that it's right. I want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So, Sherry's here. She says, "Morning all, woke up to use the potty. Remembered it was Sunday. Gonna try and stay awake and hang with y'all." Well, fantastic. I'm only gonna be here for a couple more minutes because I am super tired. I've been awake all night. You know what I'm saying? Bridesmaid says, "Bears like a picnic a basket." Hey, boo boo. That's true. And Charlie, I mean, you're 100% right. Unlike bears prepping for hibernation, many people feast for a winter that never comes, and I mean that's true too, because we get to a point where we're in perpetual fat storage mode, and again that comes from never being in ketosis. So I think that begs the question. You know, we understand that we should be in ketosis at least some. We know that for sure. We need to be in ketosis at least some so that we can have some semblance of a like my brain is just fried. um Metabolic flexibility. I just don't know what that percentage looks like the other way. Is it 80-90? Or I mean 80-90, 80-10? Is it 85-15? Is it 95-5? Is it 75-25? I mean, is it 50-50? I mean, it could very well be 50-50. The body, 50% ketones, 50% glucose. I don't know. And I'm not preaching that everybody go out and stop doing ketosis or carnivore or anything like that by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just opening up the idea to the conversation that we don't know it all yet. And I know that like we have all these, we have doctors like Dr. Chafee, and we have Dr. Barry, and we have all these people that come out and they're saying all these things, but at the same time, we don't know what we don't know. And for right now, being in ketosis more often than not, we know is probably for the best until we know more. Risa is here. She says, I'm starting my day off with some electrolytes and some espresso intenso with keto brains, another night of bad sleep. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about that. Rick from Twin Brook Acres is in the house. Good morning, Rick. Stacy. Good morning, Stacy. I'm so glad you are here. The Simple Gang slept in. Wow, good to sleep in. Whew. Let's see. How does I'm sure castor oil tastes awful. Awful, awful, awful. Oh, let's see. Jerry's gonna make Jack Father's Day breakfast. Let's see. Risa says, I used to eat until it hurt. I did the same thing all the time in college and in my 20s. Now I'm really moderate. If I want something bad for me, I have one or two, and then I can't, and I can stop. I mean, some people can't. I still don't look at things like Oreos or cookies where I can just stop. I have to be very careful with that type of stuff. And I'm not even advocating for eating whatever you want just to not be in ketosis. I'm not advocating for that at all. I'm still talking about the proper human diet. I'm still talking about things that occur in nature, whether it's Brussels sprouts, broccoli, whatever. I'm just saying that, that's just kind of thing. And Travers says meat doesn't have sugar naturally. Well, actually it does, because there's glycogen stores in the muscle. So there's still glycogen, which is still a form of sugar in the muscles. Whether or not we have access to it to break it down when we eat it is a whole other story. Let's see. Let's see. I mean, and I say that loosely because I say that loosely because I don't know for sure, but they say there are trace amounts of sugar in meat as it comes naturally, just like there's naturally sugar in eggs. It's just very small trace amounts. And Charlie says there are many cautionary N equals one about long term ketosis, but there are also many success stories and have to try for yourself. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say here. I'm not trying to say, and I'm not trying, I'm not saying that we need to go out and not do ketosis. I'm just saying we don't know really enough about widespread long term ketosis on us to say definitively we should be in ketosis all the time. Becky's in the house. Good morning, Becky. Oh my goodness. It's like all the sibling junk food from my 80s childhood had kids with each other. They would grocery store anyone. Yeah. Oh yeah. I wish that kids would not bring that stuff into the house, but I can't tell them not to because they're grown adults. I'm gonna try to jump through some of these comments because Andy's going back to sleep and I'm running out of steam. Ash Taylor's here. Good morning, Ash. Beautiful Ash and Mel. And I know where you are. I know that our good friend Chris Cook in Nashville's here. There we are. Chris Cook in Nashville's in the house. Hello, friends. Literally sitting in bed, having coffee, watching Dustin. It's a day off, and it feels good. It feels good. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Oh my goodness. Oh, Charlie says, "Hey, Chris and Ashley, just listen to a recent Dave Mack story of a lady who mentioned your recipes as helping her feed her kids who had improved their ADHD, autism, eating keto." That's fantastic. I love that to the end of the world and back. I couldn't like that enough. Happy Father's Day to everybody. I'm just trying to get to the end of this chat here because I'm running on fumes, ladies, boys, and girls, doggies, and kitty cats, and all you wonderful people. Oh, let's see. Charlie did find the Ash's podcast, the Ashfault podcast. I downloaded 3 episodes. I've got the first one listened to. It was fantastic. Looking forward to listening to the second one. Cindy says good night. With that, good night, sweethearts. Well, it's time to go. I love all your faces. Sorry for the short one today, but I did a 3-hour on Friday with Cindy, an hour yesterday with my friend John, and an hour and a half today with you guys. I will be back Tuesday with Chandra. We're going to have a good time. See you next Tuesday. I love each and every one of you. Happy Father's Day. All the love. We'll see you soon. Here are the credits.